Here we go, keywords to learn for the organisation topic in Key Stage 4. An enzyme produced by the salivary glands and the pancreas that breaks down carbohydrates into simple sugars. So it's breaking down carbohydrates into simple sugars. It's a type of carbohydrate, amylase. It's called salivary amylase. Okay, it's quite good if you chew on a piece of bread, right? The starch then gets broken down into sugars and it actually changes taste. The main artery, so artery, AOA, that takes oxygenated blood away from the heart, aorta. A blood vessel that carries blood at high pressure away, so we're talking about a vessel of some sort, AOA, artery. An abnormal growth that is contained within one area. Okay, so what you've got is you've got a weird growth somewhere, right, but it contained in one area and it doesn't go anywhere else. Is a tumour, but it is a benign one. A substance made in the liver and stored in the gallbladder, which is used to neutralise stomach acid in the intestine and emulsify fats, is bile. A tissue containing red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and plasma. Okay, kind of gives it a little bit of a clue. Blood. A non-communicable, non means you can't pass it on, caused by changes in the cell that lead to uncontrolled growth and division. So you can't pass it on, it's uncontrolled growth, cancer. A very thin blood vessel, so we've got veins, we've got arteries, and we've got the thin one, which is capillaries, which is where exchange of substances happens. The basic building blocks of all living organisms, the cell. A disease that can spread, like the cold, flu, between individuals either directly or indirectly, communicable disease. A disease caused by the buildup of fatty deposits, inside the coronary artery, so it's all to do with the heart, narrowing it and reducing blood flow to the heart tissue, coronary heart disease. A biological catalyst. So a catalyst is something that speeds up the rate of reaction, and this is a biological one. Increases the rate of reaction in living organisms, an enzyme. An organ that pumps blood around your body in a double circulatory. So one circulation goes to the lungs, the other circulation goes to the rest of the body, heart. An enzyme produced in the pancreas that breaks lipids, fats, into fatty acids and glycerol, lipase. Okay, so lipids is the first bit, the lip bit, ase tells you it's an enzyme. A theory that describes how substrates must be the correct shape to fit the active site of an enzyme. So if I've got, it looks like a Pac-Man, okay, then the substrate itself must be the correct shape to fit into the active site. That is called the lock and the key hypothesis. A cancerous cell growth that invades, so it's cancer that invades, which is the bad one, a malignant tumour. A plant tissue containing undifferentiated stem cells, so plant, stem cells, meristem. All of the chemical reactions occurring in an organism, okay, is metabolism, right? So it's not just a few of them, it's all of the chemical reactions, things like respiration. A disease which cannot be spread, non-communicable. Aggregations of tissues, so that means lots of tissues together making a specific function. So lots of tissues together is an organ. A group of organs, so lots of organs that work together. So it could be like the digestive system, which is the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, is an organ system. A transport tissue found in plants which is specialized to transport sugars. Okay, so you've got two tubes in plants, you've got xylem and you've got phloem. Xylem is for water up, phloem is the transport of sugars, phloem. An enzyme produced in the stomach, pepsin, and the pancreas that breaks down proteins, protease. The main artery that takes deoxygenated blood, so it's an artery, deoxygenated blood away from the heart to the lungs, pulmonary artery. The main vein that takes oxygenated blood back to the heart from the lungs, pulmonary vein. So the pulmonary vein is the only oxygenated vein. The speed at which reactants are converted into products, the rate of reaction. Something that increases a person's risk of developing a disease is a risk factor. So for example, coronary heart disease could be to do with lifestyle, like smoking, eating too much fat and not exercising. That is a risk factor. A class of drugs that are used to reduce blood cholesterol, which slows down the rate of fatty material deposits, is a statin. Okay, you can find that in certain foods. A tube that can be surgically implanted into blood vessels to keep them open. So if you've got a blood vessel like that, okay, and what it's got fatty deposits building up inside it. You can have a stent put in, which is a bit like a balloon that inflates, and then kind of like it's almost a bit like chicken wire, right? Very, very thin, obviously, chicken wire that then holds the whole thing open, stops it collapsing. A stent. A group of cells, so lots of cells that work together, a tissue. The movement of food molecules through phloem. Okay, so phloem is mostly the movement of glucose. It's translocation, so it's move the location. The process of water evaporating from a plant, right? So there's a very, very posh tree. So that is then water that goes up and out of the leaves, is transpiration. A blood vessel that carries blood at low pressure back to the heart, the vein. The biggest vein in the body, deoxygenated blood back to the heart from the body, vena cava. A transport tissue in plants specialized to transport water and minerals from the roots up the plant. So literally up the plant is the xylem. Right, now there's a lot of keywords there. Okay, what you need to do now is you need to keep pausing the video as you go through, write down your answers onto a separate piece of paper. You know what you got to do now? You've got to do it again, because what you got to do is you've got to embed them in your brain. Okay, well done. Hopefully you got the vast majority right, and if not all of them right. Now what you need to do is you need to make yourself a note somewhere, put a note on your phone, redo it again in a month's time. Okay, 2 months' time. Okay, just keep on going over them and over them and over them.